the people that get to reject you in the past and they get to show you what your future has to be. This girl that I was dating way back, some good time back, that is when I think I had started media. And it was, my early days. You know, when you're starting something, you don't pick it up so well. You're just trying to see whether things will work out and all that. So in the conversations that we had last with that girl, she told me that me and her cannot work out due to the media stuff. You understand? Yeah. She called me a paparazzi. This is work for paparazzi. You have no future at all. But I assure you, my dear, the future is here.
Let's talk about God.
Mr. Tonny Kalanzi. Yeah, people have been waiting for it.
Thank you. But I'm happy that I'm here, and I bless God for today. This is something beautiful that I've always been waiting for such a long time. So I take this seriously and important in my life. I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm very pleased that you invited me around. And for our dear viewers, my name is Tonny Kalanzi. I don't know if I should say the other name also. Should I say the Mwesugwa name too?
Oh, you should. I was afraid to say it because you mentioned
Okay. Well, my full name is Mwesugwa Tonny Kalanzi. That is my full name.
How come you're using only Tonny Kalanzi?
There are so many people that would rather prefer calling me Kalanzi Tonny than calling me Mwesugwa. So that is what I use most of the times. Yeah. But I'm happy.
Yeah, Tonny Kalanzi. People were actually very blown away by the story. I think we should start with that story.
Well, that story is quite interesting, though it is something that there are times I don't even want to think about it, but this is part of life, and the times where you just have to sit down and reflect back on how life was, and the people that get to reject you in the past and they get to show you what your future has to be. So getting to that story, if I remember so well, I don't want to be so. But anyway, this girl that I was dating way back, some good time back, that is when I think I had started media. And it was, my early days. You know, when you're starting something, you don't pick it up so well. You're just trying to see whether things will work out and all that. And you get to find someone that you might think, this is going to be the person for me in the future. You understand? So the girl, we had, I think, spent a few weeks. I won't even say months. A few weeks, and she got to find out that I was actually into media. And to their perspective, there's some people that actually think, or they thought, that this media thing has no future at all. So in the conversations that we had last with that girl, she told me that me and her cannot work out due to the media stuff. You understand? Yeah. She called me a paparazzi. This is work for paparazzi. You have no future at all. But I assure you, my dear, the future is here. No, she hadn't seen the future. It is so hard. There are times when you have to work so hard to prove some people, and that keeps on growing for some time. It is just that developer mentality whereby we have to show people that this actually gets to work out, and it works out in the mentalities that we put up across. Understand? So I'm sure she's there. She's going to be watching me. And she has seen so many videos of me as lately, and seeing how this growth of mine is,
She hit your inbox.
Well, she tried to, but the media is working well.
So, what exactly do you do?
Well, for starters, I think I'll take you back to how everything started out. I started in church, and I'm still in church. I actually do media church. I'm a videographer in my church, New Life Apostolic, of course. It is on Lubaga Road there. I do the media services. And I got to a point whereby I felt, this was a calling also. When we are in church, most of the times, the people that have a belonging. And since I did not have the calling of singing or dancing in church, preaching and all that, I figured media would be my resort. And that is one way that I would serve my Lord. So I did media for some starters, for some time. Then I went into this, wedding functions and all that. So right now, as we speak, I do functions, weddings, birthdays. I do photos, I do videos most of the times, and we do documentaries. So that is where I stage right now, and I still do media in church.
You still minister. What inspired you to do media, like particularly media?
Well, one thing is I wanted to have this kind of interaction with God, and the only way I would actually have the interaction was through getting myself in a position where I could have that, selfless control with God. And I figured, because I had a friend of mine who was working at a certain church, he once called me up and he was in media, and I saw how beautiful they did their things, how the media was, portraying the entire scenarios in church and all that. So I picked from there, and I went back to my church. I spoke to one of my pastors. So I go back to my church and I speak to one of my pastors, and I asked if we could start a media at our church. So I was the initiator of media in my church.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is how I began this media thing, and that is one way that I felt I would feel close to God, because that is the best thing I knew better, and I felt like if at all I did this, at least I would be serving God in my own way. Yeah, that is how I started media, and that is how the story of media has been going.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, so you're the one who really started media?
Yeah, I started media at church.
So what is that story that you think you should share with us?
Well, the story will begin like this. Everything has a calling of its own, and we people have different callings. So if we are to base all this in church, what people should know, especially the young people, because this only goes to people of my age, people that at times feel like this is not working out in church and all that. They feel if at all I'm not in choir, I'm not serving God. If at all I'm not doing drums, I'm not serving God. I'm not on a keyboard, I'm not serving God. That is wrong. There's so many things that you can actually do for God. And media is one thing, is one beautiful thing that you can actually do. And you feel like, okay, this is the attachment that I really wanted. Because first of all, what media people do is quite impressive. All the footages that we put out, these are things that are supplied around. You preach to so many people, you reach out to so many people. So if you look down on yourself as a media personnel and you feel like, okay, now I'm doing media, but things are not working out that well, time is coming. Everything has a precious time. So you cannot just hurry into something. Everything has a specific time. Today you might not be doing it the way you want it, but time to come to it's going to be some other day. It's going to be a beautiful day for you. Just know you have to stick to what you're doing. You have to stick to that camera. Your camera is what defines you and God. That is where the spirit passes. That is how I take it. We media people take ourselves to have that.
And you pray when you're on that camera?
Definitely, we do.
You don't receive the power of the Holy Ghost.
I've seen so many people talk about camera people not, media people not falling down and all that. Of course, we are not going to. Though there are some people that actually get to fall, but there are times when you have to control that spirit. It is not a matter of controlling, because we don't want to control it, but still you want to serve the people and you want to serve
and
God.
The equipment
that you're having, and you need to have people see this message throughout. So you have to control your inner self, you have to keep yourself in the spirit, and you have to keep yourself in position. So you have to balance everything. Yeah. So you don't expect me to fall. Definitely. Now, how is the message going to be delivered? If I fall down, the camera falls down too, because I'm the controller of the camera.
But do you get time? off camera? You pray, you listen to the word.
We do, because we edit the work. And we even get time to pray before we start the sermons. You know, before putting up your camera, you pray. You have time to pray.
How have you been able to keep your spiritual life?
Well, that is the same thing. That is the same area that I'm going to drive you to. Just have to keep yourself in that accord of God. When you're having that camera, you have to know that this is the equipment that God has blessed me with, and it is the connection that He wants me and Him to connect so good. So meaning everything that you do has to line with media, or you have to line with what you have at the moment, so that the spirit does not die off. You understand? So definitely that is how we do it. That is how, I don't know how some other media personnel do it, but to me and the people that I do with, the services and so many other media stuff, my church, that is how we do it.
They also have the misconception that you don't do the orphanage.
I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story about that. When I was beginning media, when I had just started, it was a bit hard. You understand? It was a bit hard. Yeah, there are times I used to miss. And there's so many people. There are so many people that I know. You understand? There are so many people that I know so well. They don't do that offertory and all that. But we find a way of dealing with it. You understand? Not once in a while you have to present yourself to God. You have to go down on your knees and you tell God, you know what? I was on camera. You have to forgive me for this, but I'm going to find a way to pay it back. And you eventually pay it back. Every time you get time, you just have to find that specific time with God. If you didn't do the offertory part, then you need to find a way of paying it back, because that is a mandatory. That is one of the things that is delighted in our lives, and especially when it comes to church. That is one of the things that we have to do. It is a must. It is a must for everyone. It is not questionable. You understand? So however much I dodge it, I have to find a way of paying it back.
So in church, it is ministry to pay.
No, this is a calling. This is a calling. Unless if a pastor appreciates.
Guys, they can demand for command.
I know. But we get to demand money when you're out of church.
Oh.
But I cannot stand on my feet and I start demanding my pastor money. Unless if the pastor feels, okay, these media guys have done a great job. Go for KFC. You understand? But he's not going to go to his pockets and he's like, because there's so many people that are doing work. You understand? It's not only the media people that are serving God. We have the choir members, and they spend most of their time doing this work. They're there from Monday to Sunday, trying to worship, trying to do things that are going to put people in the spirit. So if a pastor gets to just line out a certain group and he's like, no, these are the only people that are going to be paid, that is not right. Some people will feel out of place, and that is why you find most of the people leaving church. So we are not doing this media thing for money. When it comes to church, we're not talking about the function part. When it comes to church, if you're doing media in church, this is a calling. This is something that you sit down, you discuss with your God. There are sometimes you even I'll tell you a story, because there's something that I experienced. At first, when you're starting out, it is always so hard for you to tell if truly this is a calling. So the only time you get to know that, okay, now this is my calling, that is when you start doing something right. Because the times when you go to different groups and you do not fit there, but once God puts you in a certain group and you feel, there's that special moment that you tend to encounter every time you're in that group, you just know now this is where I belong. One time round, I was putting a lens. We have a body and a lens. So I was putting a lens. I was trying to fix it back onto the body of the camera, and accidentally the lens dropped. And you know how expensive.
I understand.
You understand?
How did you feel?
Just know. At that moment, I felt lost. And the only thing that kept on, rolling in my head and rolling in my mind, I know the pastor loves me so much, but the pastor is going to tell me to pay this lens. Where am I going to get the money from? Please, God, do a miracle.
It was damaged.
It wasn't. Funny thing. After all that kind of self-prayer in me, I picked up the lens and it did not even have a crack on it. Now that is when I knew this is my calling. That is the confirmation, and this is something that I needed. And from that day on, I decided to place myself in that direction. I told myself, this is where I belong. I cannot do any other thing, but I'm good at this. So I should perfect this. I should do each and everything that is possible to see that at least God sees me in this kind of position. He lifts me up, because through media, I was able to get so many connections to different people, and I've worked for different people just because of accepting that calling that God has.
Accept.
Yeah, you
The
accept.
people who know the call, but they can't accept.
They can't
feel.
accept. You know, there are some people that are actually into the system, but they're just there for formality. They don't really know what they want. Just, you know, there are some girls in church. You know, girls love media people nowadays.
Hey,
Not like back in the days.
Back in the days.
When we were just starting out. But these days, the girls look at the media. We are always smart. We are some of the people that are always smart. You understand? So
and there's a way you
they
change the walking style on you.
Definitely. You know, you hold that lens and you feel like, okay, you own the world. You even own the church. You understand? But yet, it is just a calling that you have to accept. So if you don't accept the calling, then things cannot work out the way you expect them to. But just because I accepted the calling and I accepted that now this is where God has placed me, this is where my blessing is going to come from. I need to perfect this, I need to make it work out. And I make sure that I pray. I pray so hard. I'm a prayer person, by the way. There's some people that I talk to most of the times when we are having this kind of conversation. Because even when we are out of church, when we are doing functions, one of the things that we do, if at all I'm working with people, we do not start any kind of shooting before we've prayed. We have to pray first, then look at some other things later on, and it has saved us, right? It has put us on a certain level, yet it's still pushing us somewhere far. I cannot take that for granted. That is something that I appreciate God for.
There's a misconception that media people do not pray, but you heard from him.
Yeah.
And how have you managed to keep yourself? All the ladies in the church.
I pray.
You pray. Do you have a girlfriend?
Yeah, actually. You want to get me in trouble?
No.
But yeah, I do, and I pray. I've kept myself in Christ, and I've tried as much as I can to see that at least I do not let things distract me with my God. I might say there are times that I tend to miss church, maybe perhaps when I have lots of work, when I've traveled and all that, but I make sure that wherever I have gone, I tend to put myself in that position that prayer is one thing that I have to put at first. Let it be Sunday, even if I'm not at church. At least I go online. I pray for some few minutes, then I do what I have to do. So all this, girl stuff and all that, I already have
you
someone.
handle it, people who come to you. They want something else.
Well, I pray for them. I tell them God will bless you. Because they come. They come. You understand? But you're not going to accept everyone that comes. There's some people that think, actually, I don't know why people have this kind of mentality that media people have this conception that they should have every person that they come across to. Every time they go to functions, every time they go to
live there.
So that is that mentality that people have. But it might be true if at all you're not godly. But if you've kept yourself in Christ, then that is something. Yeah.
The media you're doing, is it worldly?
Definitely. So if you're doing the godly part of it all, even when you're out there, you're still going to have that feel of God. You're going to have the touch of God. You're going to stay intact, even when the devil tries to tempt you in any way. So I've kept myself in prayer, and that is one thing that I do not go away from. Pray. I do not do anything without prayer. This is work. Media is work. I may not be doing it, for this purpose of money issues in church. But when I go out, that is work. But all this work has come through church, because it is God that has blessed me with all this knowledge, the skills that I have right now. So I tend to do anything that is possible to see that even the small money that I get, that takes us back to the money thing in church. I have to get this money and I pay it back. if I told a Sunday before I did not pay that offertory, I have to get the money and pay it back, because that is God's money. Yeah.
Here's the question. What moment in your journey that shaped you the most?
Well, I have a friend. There's one time, because I'm going to relate this back to when I was starting. I had people that were actually biased with how I was doing stuff. When you're starting, you're not always perfect, and you will not take. Yeah, it is a learning process. So I had a friend of mine. He was literally my friend. We just met on Facebook. He gave me the chance to work with him, and that was the first job that I actually did out of church. So he gave me a job. We went to a certain function, and I was doing video. I was shaking, and the guy knew that I was just a beginner. So he comes up to me and he's like, "My brother, this is the starting point. You never go back. That shaking that you're shaking right now will never be there again. You're going to be a very different person from this day on." And trust me, from that day on, I'm a very better person. What I learned from the words that he said on that set were the most powerful things that I've ever had. It was a shaping moment in my life. Until now, I can say I'm the best.
Yeah,
I'm the best.
You're best.
I'm the
On top
best.
of the game.
I know what I do, and I thank God for that. I don't take that for granted.
So that's the moment you remember.
Yeah, that shaped me to where I am right now. The words that he said.
You should be very, very intentional with the words.
Definitely. Because even when someone is starting, you don't need to give them that negative part. Just give them the encouragement. Just show them that, okay, even if it is just the beginning, you can still even do more better than what you're doing right now. People are going to be motivated. You're shaping someone up ahead. You're showing them that, no, this is just a start. You're yet to see the big things. God is going to show you the way forward. You understand? And God is showing me the way forward. And I travel. I don't really know the many places that I've traveled, but God has blessed me with so many friends, so many photographers, so many videographers, so many filmmakers.
What is the biggest challenge that you've ever faced, and how did you overcome it?
Well, the very first time I got my own job.
You're the boss.
I'm the boss. I'm the boss.
I don't think it becomes also a challenge.
It becomes a very big challenge because you don't have equipment, and you don't actually know the good pricing that you should put on people. So I go ahead, I get a function. It was, I think, a Puchala, a certain lady there. Someone had connected me, a friend of mine. So I go with another friend of mine. We've gone to work. I've got equipment from a friend. I've paid him less because I had charged the client less. Getting to the function, I don't know what was wrong with the camera. I think I did not pray. The camera refused to work. I took out the cards, I took out the batteries, I placed them back, everything totally refused. And I had to get my own money to hire some other equipment. So that was the very first function that I did not actually earn anything. I went with a friend, and we went with, there were 2 cameras, but they all didn't work. That was a very big blow in my life. When the Mongole is already there, they are ready. The moments that the person is ready to have their pictures, the person is ready to have their videos, the morning shoots and all that. The equipment failed to work.
So you're in the process of going
and I had to explain to them, the Mongole, and when you've charged them, definitely you cannot tell them to add you money. So I had to make losses.
So you taught her.
From that day,
You
it
only ate
was
food.
even the food. I could not even eat the food. It was a challenge in my life,
Mm.
but also a lesson that I learned. It was a very big challenge, but a lesson.
What did you learn?
I learned that prayer is so important because the truth is, the function that I was working on was for a different religion. And I felt it wasn't that necessary for me to pray. And I felt like I was on top of the heavens.
Where did you experience?
There. You understand? So you get
You know
there.
it all. That is a very big point. You know, we reach at a level and
Yeah.
we think, actually, we know.
And that is
And
so
God
bad.
humbles you by only you forgetting to record.
And God
When they
humbled
tell you stop, you're recording.
God humbled me. God humbled me, and I was humbled. And I knew that, okay, there are some things that I should never pray with.
That
I
is
should never pray prayer.
really, it is why it's, I don't know, it's amazing that you really very, very critical on prayer.
Yeah, prayer is so important. Prayer is so important. So I take that as one of the best initiatives and first important roles in my life. Whatever I do, I pray. I have to pray. It is important. And it has taken me places. Prayer takes you places. It takes you so many places. You climb mountains, you climb hills, and you overcome them. It's just prayer. So I don't take it for granted at all.
Yes, prayer. Don't joke with prayer. People out there. So what is the meaning of happiness?
Happiness. That is out of context. Because well, happiness, if we are out of, I would say that the meaning of happiness is family. My side, having a family, having the best people in my life, people that there for you, people that keep pushing you to do better in life. That is where your happiness comes from. And that is where my happiness comes from. So those people that keep on pushing me to do better, people that keep on advising me to do more than what I've been doing, people that do not actually get to judge me, those are people that create the moments of happiness in my life. That is what I define as happiness to me. You might not be a family, but there are those people that are so close, those people that have connected me to places, people that have made me go so many places. That is family. That is all family. So that is happiness. What they do creates happiness in me, and I see value in them. So that is where my happiness comes from, and that is how I define my happiness.
Oh, value the people you have. And as the topic has the unseen life of the person who is behind it.
Yeah.
What is the reality that is in media? That is in that the reality of the life of a person that is holding that camera. What to you? What has been? What can you liken that journey to? How has that journey been? With the challenges, with the how you overcame them, how you moved up to where you are right now.
Well, I think I'll use only a few words for that. It is always hard at the beginning. It is not smooth, as some people think. That when you've learned a few things, you're just going to go to the top just like that. I won't say that I'm at the top, I'm at the very peak, but at least I would say that God has placed me somewhere. So it is always a challenge, but if at all you keep the faith and keep that trust in God, then you're going to get to the peak. Yeah. So people that are behind the cameras, people that are behind the lenses, those are people that have struggled. Those are people that have.
Most of the times they leave them unrecognized.
Definitely.
They are doing.
Definitely. But those are people that have actually impacted the world so much. They have spread the gospel all over. Because without media, you cannot spread the gospel, the recording gospel and all that. It is so hard. You can't just do that. This is work for professional medias.
What is it like to stand there on camera? Some people think that it's just a piece of cake. You're just playing around with that.
Then they should
Is
try
it
it.
tearsome?
Then they should try it. They should try it. If they think that it is just a piece of cake, they should try it. And I wish they could probably see the struggles we've gone through just to set up the entire place. They could definitely
right now. Oh my god. Oh
You
my
understand?
god. Oh my
So
god.
that only tells it is not that easy, but if you keep on persisting, you get the good results. It is not easy, but you push, keep pushing, push to the very end. And
What
that
do you tell
is why-
someone out there who wants to join me, a young person who admires?
Someone out there is money.
Eh?
There is money.
Like I said,
There is money. If at all you know what you want, and if at all you're sure that you're going to persist and you're going to be consistent with what you're doing, there is money. So if you want quick money, media is the best for you. You don't need to look any further.
because everything is just
Everything is just media.
don't understand what I said.
Ngavampita kushika.
Ukaenda kuyola.
Chitegeera. So you just have to be consistent. You just have to know what you really want. It is important.
How can you open there are other people who have been in media, but they have been stuck maybe in church. How can you open their mind to see this money? Because you can be there when you're blind to it.
It is okay. Now, this is where I get issues with some people. Sorry about that. This is where I get issues with some people. Because still I have friends that are actually in media and have locked themselves in that part. God loves everyone. God loves the media people and He appreciates what we do. But still, He wants you to go out there and venture. You understand? So you're not supposed to lag behind. You're supposed to move a step ahead so that you can at least put a contribution out there. Because even the contribution you're putting out there is going to be an investment to the church. You understand? So you don't need to be vast in only one place. You're supposed to go and explore some other places. Media is broad, media is wide. So you just have to keep yourself in that space where you have to look for more opportunities. You do not have to lag behind just because you want to serve God all the time. It is so important to serve God, and I do not encourage anyone to live there when you're not serving God. It is so important. It is one good thing to serve God. But God wants someone that moves ahead, not someone that lags behind. So if you're in media and you're lagging behind, you're there, you just want to sit on camera in church from Monday to Sunday, it is wrong. Because you're not benefiting. And you need a life. And God wants you to have a life through Him. But when you're out there, He wants you to portray something different. He wants you to portray the skills outside there. So that those skills that you're portraying
go to shine.
Definitely. When you're portraying the skills out there, people are definitely going to ask, Omufubukono wawa. You are new life apostolic. Banani church is wawa. You understand? You're preaching the gospel. You're not entirely, reading the Bible out to the people, but the skills that you're portraying to the people are actually attracting the people to ask where you're coming from. So that is going to lead them to the church where you're coming from. That is an investment to the church. You're bringing in souls to the church. So don't lag behind just because you want to pray so much. We have to pray in all ways through, but you have to be sure that at least you find where your skills have to be portrayed. Invest in church. Being on the lens from Monday to Sunday in church is an investment to the church, but does not help at some point. You understand? It doesn't help. So for the guys that are out there and you feel like you want to explore, you want to find a skill important in your life, just look a step further.
Well, I will not repeat the words of Mr. Tonny. You've heard it yourself. So, how do you see yourself in 5 years to come?
I asked myself that same question. Some good time back, and right now,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. And I think I'm appreciative. we always have so many plans, but because God has the final plans, it's a master plan. So I need to pray about that. I might have an idea on where I want to be the 5 years, but because God has a very perfect, idea on where He wants me to be. You might even find me preaching the gospel. Understand?
I see. I've seen it
You
now.
understand? So, but all in all, I definitely love to start up something that will help the youth, something that I've started working on, where I could probably use the skills that I have to teach them something small, so that they could at least gain something in their lives. You spread the gospel in that way. So if getting up a school, a skilled school for media is one of the definitely. So those are some of the things that I plan for the 5 years. But God has a plan also. Just like I've told you, you might find me preaching the gospel when I'm no longer in media. Tonny Kalanzi. My dad is a pastor, by the way.
Oh,
He's a mutabani wa Musungu.
That's exactly.
Yeah, muchachi yemu. Kitegeera. Kale era ndowooza olaba oba olina okwekuumira mu ki. I've gone in church. I've served God.
Have you ever messed up?
Yeah, I have, but I don't want to talk about it. I have, but that was way back. I prayed and I repented, and God forgives. And I'm sure my dad is proud of me right now. He sees a very perfect person.
You used to mess up.
Very stubborn. I messed up a lot when I was growing up, when I was starting like all that. But God has touched me and God has showed me that way. And I'm proud of that.
The position you're in, being pastors.
Yeah. You have to be a reflection.
Exactly. People expect a lot
from you.
Wow. So you humbling yourself and being on camera, camera is good, it's special. I know many pastors' kids have ended up being assistant pastors.
Yeah, I know. There's a time I was actually supposed to be in Bible school, but when you're stubborn, growing up, I was like, no, I'm not ready to do Bible school. I'd rather do something else. I chose to do media. At first, it was hard. They want you for something else because you have to be a pastor and all that. But then you have a different calling. Understand? So my calling was somewhere else. But I would have become an assistant pastor. You never know. I'm just joking.
There's still time.
Yeah, but there's still time. God has plans. And but I would so much love to break that gospel. I would so much love to. And I'm sure time to come, I will first settle down and hear from God. You never know. Sagala bigwamu bugwi ngera okunyonyola abantu ebintu nga sikola ki nga sibitegeera okitegeera kale balina okusooka n'ebitegeera so that I can give people what God wants them to hear. Exactly. Not what I want them to hear.
And I would like to, as a sort of an inspiration to people in media, what are some of your testimonies and the things that you are really good? Because it's usually they could be this, they could be things that you
a lot. I have friends. I have so many friends. I actually have big connections that I never thought that I would have. And I've gone to places that I never thought I would go to. Personally, I've gone to border just because of all this. Understand? Everything that I have back home is just because of media. So that is a very big testimony.
So do you think of retiring?
No. I'm just starting to get the money and you want me to retire? At this age? No, not now. Because I would so much love it. Because that school, when we go back to that school, that I would so much love to start up. That is one of the things that I would love to invest in all my life. Get to start it at the very beginning, then look at it grow so big. And I want my kids to be in the same field as me, because this is something beautiful. This is something beautiful. So all my kids
out there,
you have to. Yeah.
So yeah, as we're wrapping up the show, it has been really a very sweet time, and as we wrap up, we want Mr. Tonny to tell us some of the things to consider when you are those who want to join a church media, or even he will tell us those things to consider in order to join the outside media events and those things. One of some of the important things key things, they could be technical, that you know how to handle this camera, or they could be even moral or ethical. So he's gonna be sharing with us. Yes, over to you.
So I think it is important when it comes to church media, pray about it.
Wow.
Yeah, you have to pray about it.
It's very important.
Yeah. You don't just come from nowhere and you're like, okay, I want to be in media.
Media guys are just,
Hey, you understand. You have
need
to
pause
pray.
and pray.
Yeah, you need to pause and pray and ask God, if this is what He wants you to do. You might want to be in media. If God wants you to start singing in church, you cannot do both. And you disobey, you tell Him, no, me, I want to. Otuukeyo bikuleme. Osegeera ogenda okuteekako kamera egaana okukola ki? Kugendako nga gwe buli w'ogigendako tekola ki? Tegendako. Omusajja bamugamba gende okoleki obulire abantu ne yeekyanga n'agamba sijja gendayo abo bantu boonoonefu nnyo. N'amugamba kale kankoleki kankulageko. And this is the
and
same
the
thing.
people who were in the boat, they got problems.
Yeah, just because of one person. So why would you let other people get issues just because of you? So if you feel you want to be in media, first pray. Media church, first pray about it. Then womala okusaba n'owulira Katonda agamba kale genda ogezeeko eyo. Go and study. Because we studied. I had to study. Understand? I had to go to school, I had to study, I had to write, I had to do practicals, I had to go to field work, I had to do a lot of things just to do what I'm doing right now. So you have to study, you have to be persistent on what you decided to do. Very important. But the outside functions and all that, it is also the same thing. It is partially not that different, but you just have to keep on, pushing on. You have to learn what you're doing. When you're talking to a client, how do you talk to a client?
Friday.
Zomanya abanyiziza.
Payment yao basasula.
Anti wembadde nzija. Sekeera notuka kaseera n'owulira ddala nga client yagala okole ki. Eno dikira nti olimu omwoyo gwa Kristo. Neweekkakkanya n'ogamba kale tewali buzibu. Tujja kukola. You understand? So you have to have a heart that listens to what God says. Mubeere n'owabweru client wo naye kikyayagala. Wuliriza, listen to the client. But most of it, go back, find yourself. Do you want to do photography or you want to do videography? If I tell you want to perfect in videography, then study. Na lessons hizo nazo weetaaga study. Veeyo ng'ofuuse kafu. Tujja kuba tetukugambako. Era tujja kusanganga kunyonyi nga obuukuve. Because there is money in this business. There's a lot of money. We are so many, but engeri gye weetwalamu and the way you invest in yourself, friends will look for you. You just have to create friends. You just have to create opportunities.
Wonderful. Yes, that's been really nice. Unless you have something you need to leave us with.
Well, first, thank you for inviting me over. By the way, I studied with my friend over here. We went to the same campus and all that. And we've been good friends for quite some good time. One thing I would say, faith, prayer, they work together. You cannot have faith when you don't.